Hey everyone, welcome to Mosaic Life. This is our collective episode where we all three of us collectively just make room. We collectively chose. What episode did we choose, Daniel?
Well, this is called Gratitude in the Wilderness. This is the one that came after.
Oh my God.
I'm fat, okay? You gotta make room for me.
I'm sorry.
I gotta get comfortable.
This is the one that came after our It's Not All About You.
Yes.
And the reason I like this episode and we chose it all together is because Sam and I had this really impactful episode. We were talking about all this stuff, and then halfway through it, Holy Spirit came in and was like, y'all have no idea what you are talking about.
Right across our faces.
Exactly. And
in the most gracious and loving way.
In the most gracious way. And then we ended that episode really like people will say drunk in the Holy Ghost. We were really just, the presence of God was in this room so thick. We were coming out like, God, you're so good, so amazing. And Ruth was doing the episode right after us and came upstairs and was like, what is wrong with y'all? What are y'all doing? So,
It was the aftermath. And so if you haven't watched what's it called? It's Not About You.
Yeah, It's Not About.
Go rewatch that one as well. Maybe
Episode 6.
Whoa, that comes before 7? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. Episode 6. Go rewatch episode 6. It's Not About You, and that will give you perspective to this one. But we collectively wanted this one because like Daniel was saying, like it's just like the aftermath. And like, I just remember it was resonating still, like it was rippling like through my spirit, like as we were doing this episode. And it was funny because Ruth had no context to what had just happened. And so it gave, how was it for you in that perspective of it? You can talk now.
I don't know.
She's still trying to figure out why everybody's laying on top of her. Somebody who's claustrophobic.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, it's okay. It was a good experience. I loved it. I was still pretty fresh in my recording, so it was really slow. Okay, stop breathing like that. You know. We hope you guys really enjoy this episode, okay?
You're kind of sound
Yes,
all the
I
piece.
am.
No.
Do you want to intro this, Ruth?
Go for it, Ruth.
Hey, guys. What camera am I looking at? That one?
We're rolling, so this is all going on the episode right here.
Y'all can just not put it on there.
But why would we ever do that?
Am I talking to that camera?
Yes.
You're literally talking live to the whole audience right now. No pressure. What's with you and the clapping?
I don't know. So he knows where to edit it.
No editing now. Just get a whole clap on there.
Just edit it out,
This is the
Sam.
most interesting intro we've ever done, guys. So
No, it's not the intro.
It is.
This is the
This
intro.
is so intro.
Hey, guys. Welcome. I can't. No. Don't make it the intro.
You just used 2 intros.
Okay.
Okay, go into your fake intro now.
I can't because I'm laughing too hard. Okay. I'm done. Hey, guys. Welcome to Mosaic. I don't know what to say.
Oh my
That
gosh.
is the fakest thing I've ever seen.
I don't know what to say. I need lines. I told you.
Right. Let's get the kids in here and hold them over in the corner.
Think you could take me by yourself?
We know what happens when we give you lines.
I know. I just need some direction, and I wasn't here for the first one.
All right, listen. So as soon as y'all get done with this episode, get on YouTube and look up the girl that was.
do not.
Yes, the girl that
Girl that
was.
was.
You're gonna see Ruth in all of her glory.
No.
Are you still attempting an intro right now, or what?
No.
What are you, these people are watching you right now.
Can we just not do this part? Y'all just
We're,
be
we're
nice.
already in so far.
Okay, what are we talking about today?
The girl that was.
No,
talked
we are not.
about-
No, what are we talking about on this episode of Mosaic? What?
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, Sam and I just came out of this really good recording, and it was super anointed. So I'm still like in this mode of like, man, heavy revy stuff. So now I'm like coming back up to the service, taking a breath real quick, doing 15 intros, and then we're going to go deep again here in just a moment. I want to talk about today on Mosaic with all of our Mosers out there about our conversation at lunch today.
Okay.
Because Ruth wasn't at lunch with us, and I want to get her perspective. She sounds salty about that.
There's a little attitude there.
Well, Sam and I came home for lunch today, and we decided, actually Sam decided, because we're getting a fridge, and he said, do you want to go to Mazio's? And I was like, that sounds delicious, because we didn't get a Mazio salad. If anybody's wondering what Mazio salad is like, it's like heaven in a salad bowl.
Yeah.
Salad bowl.
So anyway, we're like, let's go hit up Mazio's. So we went over there. We got it to go so we could come back to the house. And then we came back, and while we're talking, we're discussing like frustrations kind of about our season, right?
Yep.
We talked about one of the major frustrations was like we're in the season right now. We know that God's bringing us different places with podcasting, with whether it be fostering, whether it be financially, whatever it was. And then we started talking about an interesting dynamic of how God has blessed us and how we're being blessed currently and how God is showing up and showing out in all areas of our life. But
we feel ungrateful. Because it's not the things that we're praying about. And it's not like the aspect of, okay, God, but I really need this to come through.
Right.
And that's such a frustrating like place to be.
Yeah.
And it was so interesting because we're both like in the exact same place on the exact same page as it is today in this feeling of it's like, okay, like I know I'm supposed to be thankful. Like, God, I can't say that you're not showing up because you are.
Yes.
But I really need this, God. And it's like everything else around it is coming to fruition.
Right.
Except for the thing I'm freaking praying about.
Yes.
And it's like, I don't want to be ungrateful. I don't want to be in this, like, talk about the desert. Like, you painted it so perfectly in the parallel between the Israelites.
Right. Okay, so we have to give a little context. Backing up a few weeks ago, one of our dear friends, he was on one of the earlier episodes, Matt Johnson. Yes. He was talking to me, and like we talked before, like it's good to have community. It's good to have brothers that talk to you and sisters for people to feed inside your life. So I was telling him, like, I feel so blessed, and there's so many things that God has come through for me. And I feel like this time of my life, like, God is just being amazing. Like I said, showing up and showing out, right? But then on this other thing, I feel that I'm being ungrateful because I keep praying for like the promised land. And that's what we were talking about at lunch today. Mm-hmm. I said, so if y'all remember when the Israelites came out of Egypt and Moses is leading them, and there was a period, it ended up being like 40 years that they're in the desert, but it wasn't designed for them to be that long. But at the same time, God said that if he would have brought them in sooner, it would have killed them because the things that were in the promised land, or whether it be giants or just their own stinking thinking and their attitudes.
They weren't ready.
They weren't ready for it. And so I feel like I was talking with Sam today. I said, I feel like I'm the Israelite in the desert that I'm like, man, I'm so grateful for this. And I'm so thankful for God. You know, I pride myself thinking, yeah, I'm just this grateful person. But at the same time, I'm like that Israelite. I'm getting tired of the manna and all this other stuff because I'm ready to walk into the promised land.
And not denying that the manna is provision.
Yes.
Like you are providing.
Yes.
But we're not created to stay in the desert to eat manna for our entire lives. But so,
well, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Oh no, you're fine. I just wanted to add because you added that earlier, and it was such a good point because it's like we're not. It's not like we're spoiled brats. Like we're not the little girl from Willy Wonka. Like I want a golden goose now. It's like I just want a goose. Just like it doesn't have to be golden. I just want a goose. Like I just don't want to be living paycheck to paycheck and like having to pray like God, like how am I going to pay this bill?
Right.
Because obviously, like Lord, you have provision for me. Like I said it this way, where it's like, I'm ready to live out of the overflow of God's goodness, and I'm not there yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so it's frustrating in the desert season when you're walking through the wilderness.
Yeah.
And you know that that's not your destination.
Yeah. So, I mean, let's take it from that point of view. Let's talk something practical, which would be finances. All right.
Yeah.
So if we look at finances, all right. So finances in the season, God has shown up with manna every day. He is taking care of me in this desert place every day. So just bringing Ruth into the conversation, what we talked about at lunch was, okay, God is taking care of us day by day, but at the same time, like, how do you have an attitude of expectancy and an attitude of, God, I know this is not where you're going to leave us forever, because I know you didn't design us to just live on manna and quail or dove. I got to read my Bible more. It was dove, right?
I have no idea.
Or it was quail.
What are we talking about? Manna?
Poultry that God sent down.
Oh,
He gave them meat. Anyway.
I don't know.
So anyway, I'm saying he didn't design them to just live on that alone. He wanted them to obviously have the expectancy of the promised land. So I was telling Sam today, I said, I'm in the desert place and God is taking care of me, but I have this guilt of like, should I want more right now, or should I just be content, or should I just be like, God, I want to dream for the more. I know that you've made me for the promised land. And anyway, so step in, and I mean, you could say we're both wrong, or I know it's a lot.
I got a lot of things going on.
I know.
So, like, my first thing is, number one, when you have an appetite for more, that number one, that's healthy and it shows growth.
Okay.
Because, like, you're wanting that more. So what are you doing? Like, when we're actively dreaming and going after something, you're pursuing.
Okay.
And so especially with God, we're pursuing him. And it's all about relationship, you know? And so then that's like that part of you that's like, okay, I'm hungry. I want more. So you're going to him, you're spending more time, you're pursuing,
Right.
which is what he's after,
Right.
is your heart and your relationship. And it's like, okay, but God, I want that. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so in the video I just showed y'all of AJ, my son, that came on my time hop, and I'm feeding him a banana, and I have it in the peeling, and he is determined he wants that peeling, and then he starts to throw a fit because I won't give him the peeling, and he rips off the peeling and goes to eat it, not once, but like 2 times, put it in his mouth to try and eat that peeling, and then he's like, blah.
Yeah.
And then I gave him the banana, and he was like all happy again.
Yeah.
And it's like, when I was watching that was what God was saying, is just like, how many times do we look at that, God, I want this. And he's like, okay, well, that's not good for you. You can't eat that. It's not going to nourish your body.
Yeah.
Where were you at lunch today?
Sorry. No, I just got that
Why
from
didn't
watching
you-
that video. And it's like, how many times do I pursue something that's not his desire for my life? And it's like, I can't see past my wants and my things. But when we get connected with him, it's just like, hey, he sees the big picture.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like it's the moment where your kid has moved from the baby formula or the baby food and is starting to eat meat.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're hungry for the meat now. But I've had just this squashed peas,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like no more is the squashed peas satisfying to us.
Mm.
Like we want the protein, we want the meat, we want something of substance. And it's like you're saying, like, that's not wrong. And so, and I do, like, I understand the, like, wanting things that aren't meant for us. But if you think of it in the way of, like, okay, God, like, I know what I have right now isn't the end game that you have for me.
Yeah.
You're not necessarily, like, I don't want to put like my picture up there,
Right.
but I know that this isn't the end game.
Right.
And it's like that frustration. Maybe you're right. Like maybe it's not a unhealthy frustration. Maybe it's a holy frustration. Maybe it's the thing that's like going to push us to go into the promised land and defeat whatever's there to take it for ourselves.
So where's like the healthy boundary though?
I think that's what we're struggling with. Is
Yeah.
like we feel guilty wanting more.
Yes.
We feel like we deserve the freaking desert.
That's what
We're self-deprecation. Like this is what it comes down to, Danny. We hate ourselves.
Dang it. Thanks, Ruth, for helping us realize we hate ourselves. Well, guys, thank y'all so much.
Really short
for
episode today
joining
on
us.
Mosaic.
Don't hate yourselves, all right?
No, but it's true. Like, I think there's a part of us that feel like we deserve the desert. Like, we deserve to wander in this and that we shouldn't be longing for the promised land.
Yeah.
Or, as I said earlier, the promised plan.
The promised land. Whoa.
Which is...
Who can make T-shirts out there?
We
That was
can...
really
yeah.
good. Okay. Make some T-shirts.
T-shirts going on. July.
Sticky shirts.
You always have these voices. But it's like, maybe that's what it is it's just like, why do I feel like I need to just be satisfied with manna?
Yeah.
Like, why do I feel like because I'm wanting the milk and honey? Like, I don't deserve the milk and honey? Like,
See,
I don't.
and God puts that desire there. So God is the one who said that he's going to bring us to the promised land, right? He's the one who told the Israelites. And we're talking
It's
the context.
the promised land. He promised
He
it.
promised this. That's part of his plan.
Promised plan.
Oh, Savannah. I just had to get that out. When they talk like
gosh.
that, you got to say Savannah. Anyway, it is the promised plan. It's what his original design was for. So let's cut back like a couple of minutes, and we're talking the context of finances. And the issue that we had today that we kept wrestling with is that we kept saying, but we feel like we're being ungrateful. And then like going all the way back to Matt told us that he said to me that day, he gave me some advice. He was like, well, that's the enemy coming to you and telling you, shame, 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 shame. You shouldn't be thinking these things. And I was like, okay, let me get rid of that stinking thinking. But now I'm back on this track of, and Matt, I love you. I'm still tracking with you. I don't need to let the enemy lie to me, but I'm also on this thing of what's that healthy line of dreaming for more, still in the context of finances, or let's take the context of healing ministry, or let's take the context of whatever it is. How do you dream for more, but having a contentment in your heart saying, okay, God, thank you for the finances you give me. I am so grateful for that. But I also want to not stop dreaming and see where you can take this.
Yep. So here's the thing. This is what just came up for me while you were saying that.
Bro, bring it.
There is such a stigma about Christians being successful in finances.
Don't say that. That's not allowed.
My God.
Where they have bought into poverty gospel.
Ooh.
That you have to suffer for God. That you cannot have abundance. That you cannot have the milk and honey. You need to just survive off the manna. And anything other than manna is prosperity gospel, and that's of the devil. And it's like, I'm not saying there's prosperity gospel, but there is a gospel to prosper. And that the Lord has promised more in the milk and honey and not just the manna. And I think that this is a hard thing for us to talk about because I honestly think that this is what we're struggling with, is this guilt of, okay, God, like, if I'm successful, I'm not a good Christian. I'm not suffering for you. I need to suffer for you.
And there is suffering. I mean,
Correct.
God calls us back to the cross, right? He says, take up your cross and follow me. Like, what are you laughing at?
No, I can't say it.
What? Anyway, so I get that. Yes, there is suffering, and I get taking up your cross. I'm trying to ask, like, and I don't have an answer. Welcome to Mosaic. I'm trying to say, like, I mean, what do you have on this of where's that healthy boundary of I want to believe for more? Yes, I'm suffering for God. I'm going to do whatever he has called me to do for this season, do it in obedience and with a happy yes in my heart because I'm doing the will of the Father. At the same time, dreaming for God, where do you want to bring me?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I'm having a hard time, just being honest of like, okay, see, and then I'm like correcting myself because I'm thinking, okay, then when do I stop dreaming? And I'm like, well, you never stop dreaming. And maybe that's my problem. I'm castrating.
I mean, that's better than castrating. So
Castrating again. There I go, castrating myself. I mean, what do you feel?
I feel like it's healthy to dream. It's healthy to put things, have goals and vision and things, because for me, if I don't have that, it's really hard to move forward. When I get stuck, and you know that, in a rut, and I don't have vision and I don't know where we're going, which we came from last year, then it cripples me. And it's like I have to dream. And that took a lot for you just in our relationship, because I do dream a lot. But it was like, I can't give you those dreams. And it was like, he took it on himself.
he took the responsibility.
Yes, like, and he would get frustrated with my dreams. And I'm like, why are there these? Like, that's what I do. Like, I am a dreamer.
Yeah.
And so when you stifle that, it's like, I don't have something to live for right now. Like, I need to be, that's what drives me, is that vision and those goals. And if I don't get there, I don't get there, but it's something that I'm striving for, you know, that's like, and I feel like that's healthy. Maybe I'm not right.
And it's God who put those things in your heart to begin with. I mean, I feel like that he's saying dream with me, and he's the one who's putting those things inside of you. And so I guess so on that, when God puts that dream in you, where do you find that contentment like in you? Because there's some dreams, there's a lot of dreams in your heart that haven't come to pass, like manifested themselves yet. Where do you find contentment in the season you're in now, when you're like, right over there is the promised land? And I'm like, I'm still having to stay in this desert because I know if I go there now, it's going to kill me. But I'm like, God, why would you show me these dreams right now when I'm ready to get to the freaking promised land?
Right. I think it's a process, because, and with God, everything's a process, you know?
Yeah.
And it's like that healthy tension kind of, we don't like it.
No.
It's that place where there's that pressure, but what is it? Sorry.
If you say the thing about the pearls,
diamonds.
Okay.
Diamonds, it's like pressure cooks
Pressure
them.
makes diamonds.
It does.
Oh gosh.
And beauty comes out of that. And it's like, that's what we
That's
don't
the part
like.
that sucks, though.
Yes.
It's the footprints in the sand.
You love the footprints.
Oh my gosh.
Side trail, if you ever watched Smallville, remember when he took the coal and he mashed it and he made a diamond? That was my favorite. I love Superman. I just had to get that out.
We love Smallville specifically.
Smallville. Sam wants to sing the opening song. Come on,
Daniel
Sam.
has tried for the last 5,000 episodes to get me to sing.
He's
on
gonna
the
do it.
Podcast.
Sam has promised us on when we launch the 25th episode, he's gonna sing a duet.
How do you know I don't make this the 25th episode?
Crap. It's true.
Oh my gosh.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
The process.
The process.
Oh yeah, claims.
And that there's a process to everything, and that like it's purposed, and it's unbelievably frustrating and uncomfortable.
Yes.
Like, it is being in this part of the season. It's like I think that we get the. I'll tie it into what Ruth said about like you feeling responsible for her dreams.
Okay.
It's like, and this goes back to what we talked about in a prior episode, way back when, about it not being about us.
Yeah.
It's not about us. And it's like, God has given us this vision.
Yeah.
He has shown us this destination.
A plan.
And says, do you want to go with me? And all he wants us to do is say yes.
Yeah.
And we are like, yes, and then how am I going to get there? I guess I'm going to go this way, and then I need to go that way, and I'm just not right there. Like, okay, what? All of a sudden, where's God?
Yeah.
Because now it's on our shoulders. And now we feel frustrated because we didn't make this happen.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so how do we hone this in and take this frustration and this uncomfortableness that we're feeling and say, like, Lord, whenever you want to move, I'll move. And how do you, because like, as soon as I said that, the thing that came up for me is like, what if I miss it?
Yeah.
What if I miss it? What if he's already moved and I haven't moved yet?
Yeah.
Because I'm just so focused on this now. And
he's not going to trick you. It's not in the fine print. And I believed that lie for so long that it's like you have to read that fine print because there's like, so if you don't do A, B, or C, then you're disqualified.
there's a clause.
Right. Yeah.
This is what we do on Mosaic. We don't have answers for you guys. Like, literally, this is a problem me and Daniel are sitting in today trying to figure this out. Like, it is, we're going off of revelation that we had in the previous episode that we recorded today. And it's just this idea now that, okay, these are the parts in our life that we're starting to take note of to see, like, oh, this is where I went ahead of God.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This is where I took steps or I made plans and wanted him to bless it and call it his plan, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's like, maybe this is part of the desert to look at our stuff and be like, maybe we're carrying too much.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it doesn't need to be this hard to travel through this wilderness because I guess I didn't need my PlayStation. I guess I didn't need my TV. I guess I didn't need my comic book collection. Like, I packed all that. Or I packed an abundance of food thinking that the Lord wasn't going to provide.
Ooh.
Manna the next day.
Yeah.
And so now I'm weighed down on my own provision and not his.
And what happened, I mean, in the context of the Israelites in the desert, when they would save more than that one
For the
day,
next day.
For the next day. Not even like, I mean, I just can't get over that. Like, surely God would allow them to save enough, and the only day that he wanted that for was
on the Sabbath.
For the Sabbath. And even that was for them to give them rest. Even on the Sabbath, he was like, all right, you can do it for the Sabbath so you can have enough so you can even relax more that I'm going to take care of you. And how many times, I mean, still back in the context of finances, how many times do we rob ourselves of a blessing by robbing other people of a blessing because we're thinking we got to hold stuff back to save? I've done that. I mean, I can be open and honest and be like, even during when COVID just first hit, it was within the first 6 months when it was in Texas, and we were feeling strains of like, the biggest strains. We're missing toilet paper. If y'all remember that.
It was a good year for the bidets.
It was a great year for the bidets and pine cones. So anyway.
Oh.
Yeah. I want to see them do a commercial with those bears with the
With the pine
cones. Mama Bear ain't going to be happy.
The 2020 version of Charmin.
Yes. That little bear, she's like, anyway, we should redo the commercial. I could totally redo that commercial. But no, I'm thinking about that time during that year when it didn't just hit us as a city or a country, but it hit us as a world. It was a pandemic. And all of the things that I was hoarding up, thinking that God's not going to take care of me. And I justified it by saying, oh, I'm just being wise, and I just want to make sure that I'm taking care of my family or something like that. And what I was really doing secretly, my secret sin was lack of trust. Like, God, you're not going to take care of me in this time. You didn't see COVID coming, and you certainly didn't see us with a shortage of toilet paper. Like, as silly as that seems, it's like one of those things you take away from somebody and it demoralizes you. It makes you feel like you've got to panic and you got to do something. It was, let's take toilet paper away out of the equation, and then now it's like we have shortages on everything else. Yeah. And I remember that time that I was hoarding stuff up when I should have been like, let's invite more people over and give them our toilet paper, or let's invite them over and have them for,
Because we never were without toilet paper.
We weren't.
We never had to use
We had an oak tree, extra big leaves.
No, but we weren't. And it was just such a fear.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and it's like, let's take it to a perspective of like, okay, your intentions aren't wrong. But like, essentially what we're saying is, don't worry, God, I got this. I've stored enough. I've worked enough.
Yeah.
Like, let me relieve some of your plate.
Yeah.
As if we can,
Wow.
as if he needs us to. He doesn't need us to.
As if we could shoulder it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like why are we so keen on trying to provide for ourselves and not let God provide for us?
Yeah.
Like, and believe me, I'm not justifying or saying like, oh, just give up all, like, quit your jobs today. Don't do that. Please, unless the Lord tells you to. But outside of that, don't do it.
Even then, check with your spiritual moms and dads.
Yeah.
We could put
There's
like
wisdom to use here.
disclaimers upon disclaimers on that one.
I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is the pressure that we've put on ourselves. The mindset of I have to provide.
Yeah.
I have to do this. Or Lord, like, I'm going to relieve you from this responsibility. It's like we're carrying too much. These aren't things that he ever meant for us to do. He made us human beings for a reason. We're meant to be, not do.
Word.
Word.
That was good. Good word.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So Daniel is trying to learn the language of the youngins. And he's trying to incorporate
Hold on.
it.
Just by you saying youngins dates you. There's whippersnappers.
It was sarcasm.
And I walked right into it.
Yeah.
You suck.
And so, but it's like, no, like, why are we, again, the question, who are we to think this way? Like, who are we to think that we're big enough or important enough to take off God's load?
Yeah.
Ruth, I'm asking
I'm
you.
How
sorry.
important?
I'm kidding. I wasn't.
It's for me. Just sitting here
You're just
listening.
agreeing. Yeah.
No, I'm just
Wow.
sitting here
Answer the
thinking
question, Ruth.
because
We need answers.
it's so funny because his ways are not our ways.
Yeah.
And it's like, if we could just clue in to like the kingdom realities. And we like put so much emphasis on this or that, and it's just like, I feel like a lot of times we're missing the big picture.
Yeah.
Because what if it's how do I want to say this? What would we be doing, or what would we be thinking about if we're not thinking about this and we're not doing this? Like, it consumes so much of our lives. It consumes so much of our day to day. Like, all I think about most days is like, how is this bill going to get paid?
Oh, okay.
If I'm not thinking on that,
wow.
like, what am I missing that God's wanting to share with me or show me that I'm completely preoccupied myself with responsibilities I was never supposed to have?
Holy cow. Yeah, that takes...
Sorry.
I mean, you were
Go.
taking a breath. I was ready. No, I was just thinking, I mean, that's the whole context of, towards the end of Matthew 6, where he's saying, don't worry, because he's already taken care of birds and he's already taken care of flowers.
Yep.
That, like, how much more are you worth than those things? And we don't have answers on Mosaic, but I have an answer.
Yeah.
Because you asked that question, and I want to propose to you, like, what would we do with all that time? I would say we would dream with the Trinity. We would dream with what God wants to do. Yeah. And at that point, I think you've, quote unquote, like, arrived. When you dream with God the way that he's dreaming, then it's like, does anything really matter at that point? Yeah. I mean, that's the way that Jesus modeled it on earth.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, interesting. I'm not jabbing you.
Jab me. Is that a young term?
I'm not jabbing you. But it's like with Ruth's dreams, and you can't handle those dreams.
Ooh. Dang it, Sam.
But like jab. This is for everyone as well, like, because you're not the only one who does this. You're not the only one that thinks this way.
I'm the only one.
No, you're not.
I'm the only guy that thinks this way.
But it's like, if we can't take the dreams of our partners and our spouses, how are we supposed to dream with the Trinity? How are we supposed to dream with God? Like, if we can't handle what a human mind can think of, this all-knowing God that is completely removed from time, we can't even begin to fathom what dreams he has for us. And so it's like, when you lose the weight of you're responsible for her dreams, then that's when you open up the possibility of saying, like, okay, God, I can handle your dreams because I know I'm not ultimately responsible for making that happen. And I don't carry that weight. And then he's like, okay, cool. Let me share. Outside of that, I don't think that we get there. We have to figure this part out and say, like, okay, like, how do I dream without carrying the things I'm not supposed to carry?
So let me throw one to both of y'all. So then, to your question there, then why does he give you a dream? Why? See, my predicament is like, okay, then God, why give me a dream if it's only going to frustrate me? But I shouldn't be getting frustrated with
What
the
if
dream.
it's a seed?
All right. Expand on that. Expand. Both expand.
Because, like, okay, if it's handing you something and you just, like, throw it away, like, that was stupid. And he's like,
wow.
Okay, well, then why would I give you anything else? If you're not even going to jump in the small things that are actually possible.
Wow. Yeah.
Why would he give you anything bigger?
Today on Beat Up Daniel,
You have the same for everybody.
Ashton Kutcher, where are you? He's around here somewhere.
He's around that corner right there.
I knew it. He's going to come in. Daniel, you just got beat.
This is his new show. MTV's Beat.
Beat him down.
No, but it's for you.
It's I think that what we're hitting on to is, like, I mean, you share ideas and visions of the future for your kids.
Yeah. Man.
They can't step into it now. Like, they're not responsible for making that happen now.
Right.
But, like, the seed is being planted.
Yeah.
And the idea that, here's one. It's so you don't get stuck in thinking that this is all there is.
Wow.
And you stop. If you think like you've made it, like your destination was a wilderness with manna, you don't even start looking for the promised land. You stay right there because you're like, done.
Build your house in this desert. Got my manna.
Wow.
And we get satisfied with
the
subpar.
Manna. Yeah.
And it's just like, God gives you vision and gives you dreams because this isn't your final destination.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No,
I'm literally, as you're watching this, I'm processing.
Yeah.
Because it's not that the man is bad, and it's not that it is subpar. It's just, it's for a specific season. Mm-hmm. I have it for you for this season. It's the same reason that, like, a while ago, I got a bottle of water, and I didn't go make myself some Infamil because I'm in a different season of my life. I don't need Infamil anymore. Yeah.
And I also think because I'm like, we're walking through this, and there is, like, there are dreams that God gives you, and then you start to walk those out, and like, there's fear.
Yeah.
Like, it is something like, well, I'm actively in something. I was in a meeting yesterday on something I've gotten into, and I'm like, whoa, I'm over my head. Like, I can actively feel the weight. Like, this is too big for me. And so there's that tension that's uncomfortable. Like, this dream is too big. I don't know if I can follow this through.
Wow.
I don't know if I have the faith to follow this through. Like, it's real big. And so there's that tendency for me that I can feel just slide back and say, yeah, not for us.
Wow.
Check yourself out. Like, this is too much. Other than, and I have an amazing friend that's like, I'm going to be your biggest support. I'm going to sign on. If you can lead this up, can you lead this up? And if without that thing, I could have slid back in. But her encouragement, her like pushing of like, hey, I know I can't lead this, but if you want to lead, I'll be right there beside you to help you. And so like, but I did feel like, and this is like 2 days ago or yesterday.
Yeah.
So like, there's still that like, wow, this is really big, but God's working. I can feel his anointing on it. I can feel that this is what's supposed to happen. It's extremely like, fear is the next thing that comes in.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because when you were talking, it was like the dynamic of a personal trainer is what I was seeing. And I had a personal trainer for like 7-8 months last year. And there were days where I'd go in and he would say, okay, today we're going to do these exercises and we're going to do them with this higher weight. Mm-hmm. And my immediate thought is, I can't do that. Mm-hmm. But he's been tracking my progress from the beginning that I've forgotten about.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been watching the weight that I have been lifting and how my muscles are reacting to it. And so he knows you're ready for this. Your mind, or my mind, says, I'm not ready for this. I can't do this. But having a personal trainer, having his presence there, gives me the confidence of, and trusting, you know what you're talking about, so let's try it. And then I surprise myself when I'm like, wow, we did it. We did those exercises with that level of weight that I never thought I would be able to do.
Yeah.
And it's because he knows and he has a plan, and it's to progress more and more and more. And it's not too big for you. Mm. Like, you have been prepared for this your whole life. Mm-hmm. You just haven't tracked the progress like he has. And so, like, our mindsets are easily tricked into, this is too big for me. I can't do this. When you're actually needing this to be a little bit heavier, a little bit harder than the last season. But that's because even that's not your stopping ground. Mm-hmm. That's also just a progression to get you stronger, to build you up, to ultimately. And honestly, guys, I don't think that I don't think that process ever stops until we die. Like, and we see the full kingdom of God, and knowing that we're just a flash in the pan for that. Like, it's all building. Like, oh my gosh, dude, if you zoom out from your life, we're just a progression in the kingdom of God that involves generations and generations and generations of people all pushing towards more kingdom on earth. Like, who our forefathers progressed the same way that we did in their relationships with God.
Yeah.
Going more and more and more in what they had to do and what the Lord had for their lives to get us to even be at our starting point. And so it's like the ripple of what we do here for our kids, man, that's the motivation enough for me to keep going. Mm-hmm. To know, like, okay, God, this isn't, it's not about me. It's not about me. Mm-hmm. Ultimately, it's all about you, God. Yeah. It's all about more of your kingdom here. I want my kids to have more of your presence in their lives. And that starts with me figuring out my own BS and why I get frustrated in a season where I'm supposed to start eating harder food. Manna's easy to chew. Manna's easy to swallow. You cut into a steak, that takes work. Your jaw hurts after a while.
You gotta stretch that
you
jaw.
Gotta unhinge that jaw.
Unhinge it. Yeah, that's good. Because ultimately, it's not about us. It's about Him. That's really, really good.
So this doesn't really help our season right now. Like, again, like this is a non-answer, but it is us processing this idea, and it's just like, okay, so now with that perspective, it's like, okay, the frustration of, okay, because God, you are providing. Like, we cannot deny, Lord, you're providing.
Yep.
And maybe it's the idea or the dynamic of going to the doctor and being like, hey, doc, I'm having real bad back problems. And he's like, oh, okay, well, I got to work on this thing on your foot. Doctor, I told you I have a back problem. But the doc knows enough to know it's actually your foot.
Yeah.
And it's the muscles that are connected.
Yeah.
So I'm going to work on this, and you'll feel it in your back eventually.
Yeah.
But this is needed to be corrected over time, and it's going to take a little bit to reach your back.
Yeah.
And maybe that's the dynamic that we're sitting in. Is like, okay, Lord, you're providing over here, but I'm asking you about this pain. And he's like,
yeah,
listen up, dude. This is going to fix that. Give it time. Let it process.
Yeah.
Progress a little bit with this. And that's difficult and hard to go through, because I don't know, are you like me where it's like, again, it comes back to the whole, I have to do stuff.
Yeah.
I have to make this happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's unbelievably frustrating.
It comes back to, for me, and then I'll let you talk, it comes back to the trust area for me. And so it's do I trust God to know that He has my back? He's not going to let me fail, because love never fails. And is He going to bring me through this season of my life? Or am I going to have to do it myself? And the problem with that statement is that there shouldn't be an, or am I going to have to do it myself? It should just be, God, I'm going to trust you through this. Either you're going to get me through this, or I'm going to die. And I think He likes that place, because, and it's not like a power trip He's on. It's not just because He is hoping you panic your way into a ball. He's wanting just a complete abandoned dependency on Him. Yeah. And I think that's true, like, fatherhood of Him. Like, now you get it. I want to take care of everything. I want to take care of you. Just come to me and let me do this, and stop getting in your own way. Yeah.
I think it's easier for me. Like, I don't ever say, but then again, I'm like, I think it for finances, I don't ever say that. But like for other things, like with foster care, I do say that. Like, what do I need to do? Do I need to do this? Do we need to do, I try to figure it out with my brain, but I'm not ever like with stuff with money. It's always like, God, if that's your will. And that might be because I'm a woman and I don't take that on.
It's funny you said that because as soon as you were saying that, I was about to say Sam and I, which I love having my wife on the show because the three of us together have this like interesting relationship because Sam and I were talking completely about finances. And it's funny, we went to that because of this stigma or whatever you say it is from like, we have to provide, right? Like as a man, we have to be like the head of the house and do all this stuff. So as a woman, like what is your biggest area that you're like having to depend on the manna from God? Like, as you're saying, okay, it's really not the finance thing, but then you just brought up fostering, which is so like a mom of bringing to herself her chicks and being like, well, God, I have the hardest time depending on that.
I think the hardest things was with my children, to be honest.
Wow.
Because for me, in the way I was raised, I wasn't ever like my mom. She volunteered in our school and stuff like that, but she was never like a working mom. She was always home, and so I never saw that modeled of like what it is to be a working mom. And I struggled so much with mom guilt when I went to work and just having our business and doing that whole thing. It was like that was a real, I mean, I cried most nights because I just felt like I wasn't adequate enough for that. I wasn't enough for them, or I wasn't spending enough time with them, and I was so worried about the holdups I was going to give to these kids because I'm trying to do this mom, and even my friends, none of them were working moms. And so I didn't have that modeled. And that was the biggest thing for me. And still I'm in a lot better place because I'm like, my kids are at an age where they can talk and we ask questions, and I feel like we've done a really good job with our kids of giving the happy medium and letting them know that tension of like what it is to be at work and then at home and having kids and everything. So the home is really my biggest thing. That's like weight wise, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's not finances for women. Even though I need money to do things, but I'm just like, I don't know. It's just not money for me.
Can you give the practical like process in which you don't care about finances? Because I would love to like receive that for myself. And
if she can, I can tell you what she does. So Ruth, tell us why you don't care about finances.
I do care about finances.
I'm joking.
Just am. It doesn't consume me.
Yeah.
Because the way we were raised, number one, I full-heartedly believe that, because mom from a very young age would have me pray for things and God would answer those prayers. And I can remember outgrowing my pants, and they were high waters, and when it was not cold, and I wanted new clothes. We didn't have the money for it, and mom's like, "Let's just sit down and pray." We prayed, and that weekend, 3 garbage bags full of clothes somebody brought to church to give to me and Becky, and it was just like things like that my entire life. Like God just provided, and it was every step of the way. He provided for me. And so I was actively being able to see that. And so when we don't have the money for it, I'm like, okay. And I probably go to the extreme of like, God's going to come, something's going to happen. Like, because I've seen that my whole life.
Yeah.
And I don't think that's a bad thing at all. Like, in fact, it's something I want more of in my life. And I grew up in the same house. But I also
do what?
and it's like I'm just like, but why don't I feel that? And at the same time, though, because going back to a lesson I learned back when I was married, like my ex-wife, she said, because there was one time that we were low on money, and I went out to get bread, and like my card got declined, and I came back home, and I mean, it took me out for the whole day. And the next day she came to me and was like, what happened? Like, why did you have such a bad day yesterday? And I was like, I couldn't afford the bread. Like, my car got declined. We don't have any money. And she's like, okay, but we know the next day that we're getting paid, and we know how much we're getting paid. And so like that was security enough for her. Mm-hmm. And I was like, you know what? You're right. Like, it's not an unknown thing, but I felt the weight of like, and we had a pantry full of food. So it's like, we weren't going to starve. We have plenty to make it through to the next day. But because I couldn't buy the one thing that I thought I needed or thought I wanted at the time, it was enough to take me out for the whole day. Wow. And consume my mind in I'm a failure because of this one thing I couldn't afford.
Wow.
And not look at what has already been provided for and not see like, okay. And that's like that brings me to my next question of, why do we get to this mindset of, God, you're not going to provide anymore? After all the XYZ history that we have seen of you providing here, 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 and here, why do I think that that's going to stop now? Why do I believe that the man is not going to come tomorrow?
Because too much is never enough when you don't know who your dad is. Too much is never enough if I don't know who my father is, because I'm the one who has to bring the supply. Mm-hmm. And so it all goes back to, and I disagree on some things when people are like, well, that's orphan thinking. But I've seen some orphans that act more like children of God than some people that are actually children of God. Right. But when you have to bring your own supply and you have to be your own resource, you can never have enough, because you always have to store up more, because you could lose the stuff that you've stored up. And I think when you change your mindset, which I'm saying I haven't gotten there yet, I am working on it. Mosaic. Hashtag, is that still a thing?
Yeah, that's actually a thing.
Hashtag Mosaic, hashtag working. Hashtag work hard, play hard. Gosh. But when I have that mindset, I'm always having to hoard up stuff. Just like I gave y'all the example with COVID, I have to have 50 rolls of toilet paper because God may not come through and give me leaves from that tree or whatever it is. You know, we joke about it, but I'm like, I feel that I have to do that as a man. And like what you're saying as a man, you have to do that.
And both of you, though, are talking about provision. So it's like, because that was your thing, is like you couldn't provide in that moment. And that's what spiraled you.
Right.
And so, but I used to have things, remember when he would do our budget always in our finances. And when he would tell me, you can't spend anymore. And that was the worst thing to do to me, because then what would I do?
She would spend. I don't get that mindset.
I don't know either. Because I would just...
You're not going to tell me what's in it.
No, it was this panic of, we don't have any more money. And so I needed to buy something until my card's declined.
Explain that to me.
I don't know.
Is that a disorder?
Yes.
Everybody in the live feed, can you tell us if that is a thing?
And he was like, I said, you just can't say that to me. Like, don't tell me I'm cut off, because then I'm going to try, like, that's a hoard.
So then I would have to be like, hey, everything's fine, but if you can hot use the card today, that would be amazing.
Yes. And so.
And sure enough.
Just go in at night and just take it from her wallet.
No. What I did, funny little rabbit trail, I actually wrote on her card, only use for
emergency only, on my debit card in a Sharpie marker in big letters. And true story, going to the nail salon to get a pedicure, and I hand it to the lady and she goes, are you sure this is the right card?
Oh, no.
Said, yes, this is an emergency.
Boy, did we have a fight about that one.
I needed my pedicure.
Good old days, early marriage. Golly. I forgot about that.
That's hilarious.
It was great. So I don't know why that's always been in me. Like there's like just like panic starts and then I have to spend money. Like, and it probably is a disorder because I used to have a spending
Just messing with you.
because I used to have a spending problem and I had to, and it does release endorphins into your brain.
Yes, it does.
And it causes you to have good feelings when you're spending that money. And I used to think that I could just charge it to the card.
And it just magically goes away.
No. So I came into this marriage with lots of debt. And so that's like, I think, one, it's your mindset, two, and then probably a little bit of how we were raised. But that pours into you. I don't know. But it's weird.
No, I understand that because I love shopping. Like, I love it. In fact, I love it more than you and Becky do. Like, y'all taught me how to shop, and I bet y'all regret it. I remember we were going to go to the PVR.
What happened? I don't remember this story.
And I wanted to buy an outfit for it. And so I went to like 5 different shops, and Daniel was dying. Because I
must have blocked this out of my
Yes,
memory.
you were like, yes, because he went to all these stores to go shopping for his outfit.
Yeah.
You don't remember that? And he took like an hour in each
I was
store.
trying to find like the perfect
gosh.
fit. Because I wanted to, I wanted to show up. And yeah, like I wanted boots and cowboy hat and all the whole thing. Everything that I'm not.
I don't.
You don't remember this at all?
No.
Yeah.
That's great.
And so I love shopping. I love spending, I guess. And it's like, it does release
I used to.
endorphins.
I was reformed by my husband.
Through prayer and
And I'm
fasting,
still single, so
Yes.
I guess it's okay.
many nights.
No, but it is. It was something. It was like a drug. Like it really was. The spending was bad, and that it makes you feel better when you're spending money.
Makes me feel terrible.
Yeah, I know, and it doesn't make sense, but you do it anyways.
I think it's like the fact that our generation right now, or well, I think people in general, it's the microwave mindset of like instant gratification.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like, I don't feel good. I need to feel better.
right.
Like, I don't like the way I feel right now. I'm going to do something that makes me feel like good, or at least perceive to be feeling good. Because ultimately the debt doesn't make you feel good either.
No.
But
But in the moment,
in the moment,
It does.
it's that quick little Band-Aid that I can
Yes.
throw on and try to fix this wound. It's like you've been shot with like a 50 caliber in your arm and you're just putting a Band-Aid over it. It's like this big gashing like wound and you're just like, oh, that's better. Like it's not gonna work at all. And it's laughable when you
Well,
put it in
it's
that
hard.
perspective.
Like, it's hard with our society now and what we live in.
Mhm.
It is very much like you see it, you buy it kind of thing. And even like it's been hard for me because I was raised after you are done paying your car payments, you get a new car and then you pay onto that one. And that was wrong. Because Daniel's like, wait a minute. No, you just have a free car now. And like, we do maintenance on it. And I was like, what? No, we go buy a new car. Like, I don't have a car payment anymore. Like, that's your goal. Your end goal is to pay this one off so you get a new one. I learned
Boy, that
real
was an
fast
interesting conversation.
that's not. And so, but to live in your car and have to be, okay, yes, it is free. I don't pay for this. And to be okay with that. And like, you look and then you see this brand new Tahoe driving down the road and you're like, man, that looks amazing. And then, but you're like, oh, that car payment though does not look amazing. And do I want to do that every month? And so just keeping that mindset is hard to be debt free.
Which brings you back full circle. Okay, so then you're going to get so tired of me. Okay, but when do you stop dreaming for that? Because is it wrong to want that Tahoe, that Z71, that new one? Because I really like the new ones, but I'm thinking, okay,
Well, Dave Ramsey would say, like, make that car payment to your savings and save up till you can pay cash. So
That's true.
We love Dave Ramsey.
We love Dave. Let's take a moment of silence. I don't know why we're taking a. He's still alive.
still alive.
Dave Ramsey is still alive.
Let's have a moment of chaos for Dave.
Woo! Dave. We're having a Dave moment. That's now a thing.
okay.
Well, to kind of go into answering your question of what you were going to ask, when you start dreaming with God, and you start thinking of finances as a river rather than a reservoir.
Whoa, can you say that again? And can we get that on a t-shirt? That was really good.
It's not meant for us.
Wow.
It's meant to go somewhere. And so maybe after you get your car paid off, scary prayer, ask God, Lord, what am I supposed to do with this car? Because he might say, well, Daniel, there's this person down the road who really needs a vehicle, and they don't have the money to do it. And I really want to bless my son today with something he never thought he'd have. And then you just go, okay, God.
Rebuke that voice. And then you pray again. I'm with you. I'm trying to track with you.
You're such a mess.
No, I'm teasing.
But it's like,
that's really good, man.
Money's a resource. It's not a God. It's meant for something.
Yeah.
And when you start to live with your hands open and saying, God, okay, whatever you place in my hand, you can also remove.
Yeah.
Then he's like, oh, cool. You're not going to dam this up and just hoard it for yourselves.
Yeah.
I can move things through you.
That's so good.
Get ready.
Yeah.
He'll start moving things through you. And then you get more and more and more. And this isn't prosperity gospel. This is just the character of God.
Right.
Because it's not going to stay with you.
That's
and
so
in some areas, you know that because you're amazing with giving and our tithes. Like that's like, I that is something that I would probably hold back, but you don't. Like you are he's very good with that. And like, so that part of you knows that.
I think that's the logic though behind it, because like you're saying, okay, I'm good with tithes, but it's because I listened, just a shout out to Robert Morris in the Blessed Life series. That series changed my life, changed our lives. Right. And I caught the vision and I'm like, oh my God, I've been robbing God of something that's already his. And so my logical brain was like, well, I live on 90% and I give God 10%, and then we give offerings above that. And I'm like, it just makes sense. So I don't know. I need to work on, I'm still in this stage of flux. I'm like, I need to work on not looking at it as a reservoir, because that's where I'm at, just being honest. I'm looking at it as how much can I get dammed up rather than letting it flow out of me. Because I can't take it with me. Somebody told me that once. It's all going to burn up on the end.
So I'm going to spin it now.
Yes, we are.
Emergency. Heck yeah.
These nails look damaged.
Hi, Mama needs new nails. I can take them with me.
No, but like, okay, so have you, obviously you've heard his sermon series on it, but have you read The Blessed Life?
No.
Please read it. It literally changed my life just as much as like the
book?
series. Yep, the actual book. And like anyone who hasn't read it, please look for The Blessed Life by Robert Morris. It is phenomenal because there's a story he tells, and this is gonna hone in anyone who's like, give it all. I'm a river. Let it flow. Pastor Robert was at a dinner with some friends, and there was one of their friends was voicing a need. There, he was like, I need like $500. And the Lord spoke to Robert and said, I want you to give him $100. And Robert was like, Lord, he needs 500. I can give him 500. Writes him a check, gives him $500. Gets in the car, he's driving home, kind of proud of himself. He's like, yeah, we took care of that. And he said, I felt like the Lord said, I'm mad at you. What do you mean you're mad at me? It's like, I told you to give him $100. I was also telling your other friends to give them $100. And you took their blessing away from them because you've paid for the whole thing.
Wow.
And it's like, now you have this perspective of, if God says give you $100 and you give $2, you're still disobedient. Because he didn't ask you to give 200. He asked you to give 100. And so this goes into the obedience that we need to have with God in everything that he says. even when you have the funds to give more and take care and like bless others,
Yeah.
it's still, God, do you want me to?
Mm-hmm.
Are you desiring this? Is this something that I'm supposed to do? And if I'm supposed to do it, how much?
Mm.
And like, because there's a responsibility that comes with it. You cannot, like, there's the scripture that says you can't give God, but I think that you can wrongly give.
Mm.
And it's like, we're not supposed to just, because I think that there's pride in it. If you really look down at the root of things of like, I kind of want to show off,
Mm-hmm.
you know, like I think that's ultimately there. But if God's asking you to do something, honestly, dude, my perspective, I want to give whatever God asked me to give, and I want to do it in secret.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want any recognition from it. And I don't want anyone, I don't even want the people that are receiving to know it's from me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I want to go out of my way to make sure that, like, it's, okay, God, this is because you're saying it.
Yeah.
Not for any speculation on my part. And I want to be really careful with the podcast. Like, I don't want any of this to be because I want to showcase anything.
Yeah.
I want to, like, maintain this vision that this podcast is for you and everyone who's watching. And it's not for me. It's not about me. It's not about us.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't, because you can get into this mindset of like, oh, you know what? I really like that clip. Like, I like what I said there. Wow, I do sound pretty smart there. Like, and it's like, no, it's not about that.
Yeah.
That's why I really want to focus on flaws. That's why I really want to focus on like the shattered pieces, because I do not want anyone to think, wow, if I can get my life the way that they have it,
Yeah.
believe me, we have nothing put together.
Nope.
Like, we are making revelations for ourselves here.
People saw that on this episode. Your boy Daniel's shard.
It's your boy.
Shaboy. Is that a thing?
It's your boy.
Shaboy hashtag shard. Man. Well, I know one thing. Ruth, you should have been at lunch today.
No.
But then we would have this great conversation about
Exactly.
how much Daniel sucks and needs to trust more.
Not that.
Thanks, Ruth. Gosh.
You don't suck.
Thank you. See how much of an affirmer my wife is? She's so great.
She's also really good at spoiling The Bachelor for you whenever you're having fun.
Is that what we're going to talk about now?
I'm pretty upset about it.
I
I'm
didn't
pretty
even
upset
mean
about
to.
this.
It just like was like vomited out, and I was like, as
Y'all,
I was saying it, I was like,
She
what
didn't
did I
even
just
know.
do? I did.
She didn't even know what she did.
I know, till 10 seconds later, and I was like, oh crap, there was only 2 ladies left, and I just told him that the other one.
It was a sad day.
I'm sorry.
like, low key, I'm a huge Bachelor fan and Bachelorette and Bachelor in Paradise. Daniel is a huge fan as well. He loves every Monday night. He gets his blanket
the
out.
The only show I love more than The Bachelor is This Is Us.
Oh my god.
Hey, This Is Us is absolutely a blessing, and
my
who watches it is
gosh.
blessed.
I feel bad for the people that watch it. I feel bad for the producers that make the show. I'm sorry.
bad.
The Bachelor, that's a whole nother podcast. We'll have to talk about how messed up that is, and I can't believe.
I love it. I love the drama.
That's probably why I don't
my
like
gosh,
it. It
it's
is
so
too
great.
much drama.
It's humans being humans.
I would rather
I
watch
like drama.
a survival show.
Oh, it is.
Now, if they
The
did
Bachelor is a survival show.
with so much drama, if they made The Bachelor where you had to survive where they took you,
Yeah.
then it's like actually preparing you for marriage. So it would actually be a great. Not that I don't love you.
Okay.
They should do a Bachelorette show with real life problems. Be like, all right, pay these bills and fall in love. So
On today's date, we have this bill to pay and no job.
looks like
see
we're
what
washing
happens.
dishes. Oh. Surprise. And then they bring in a kid. You are also pregnant and have 3 children.
And now we're going to renovate our house.
They'd be taking that rose and like popping kids with it. Get down.
Oh my
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
Well, is there anything that you guys have left on your heart that you guys want to talk about or submit or think about?
No, I need to go process for the next couple weeks and change my entire life. And when I come back, I'll be reformed.
Well, I do just want to say thank you guys for choosing to watch these episodes and to say yes to the invitation to have these conversations and to dig into the hard things a little bit, like, or not harder, but like take it and shift the perspective a little bit, and to examine it with intentionality. And I'm hoping that these episodes are blessing you guys. I am thankful that every single one of you guys have joined us on this journey. It gets me excited to think about the future and like where this is going to go and how everything's going to build and grow, and to see everyone care about each other the way that y'all already have in the comments. Y'all have left amazing comments, amazing feedback.
Yeah.
And we both, like all three of us, are just so encouraged by your words. So please, if there's any voice in your head that says don't share this, or like even though you received like whatever from whatever episode, I know the enemy can speak up and be like, oh, but they don't want to hear it. We want to hear it.
Yeah.
Like we get such encouragement out of just knowing that you are being affected by this stuff. And so thank you for choosing to spend some time with us tonight or in the morning, because you can listen to this whenever you want.
While you're feeding your child at 2 a.m, thank you for turning
eating
this on.
those 3D Doritos.
Real quick, one guy, I'm going to give a shout out to Waylon. Love you, Waylon Lee. He said he listens to his on the way home from work. And so I think it's a good decompression for a little bit of humor, a little bit of This Is Us.
There's nothing funny about this show.
I never laugh at this show.
We never laugh at this show. We're always serious.
From now on.
Mosaic, break it.
Break it. This is my serious. I was trying to do Sean Connery and that sucked.
That was a terrible, terrible Sean Connery.
This Is Us.
He's not on This Is Us.
And he's not country either. My God, just end the episode. This is terrible. I'm sorry, guys.
No, but is there anyone Ruth wants to shout out?
Yeah, Ruth, I want you to end the
out
episode.
No.
You started the episode. I think you need
really
to end
should
it.
end this episode.
I don't want to end.
End it with a song. Sam always sings on these.
I'm not
Every
singing.
episode.
Every episode he ends with the Mr. Rogers Neighborhood. How does he end his shows?
Oh, he ends it like this. Good night, everybody.